Hey guys, welcome back to Down the Stretch. I'm the host Christopher Charlton. Today I'm going to talk about a horse that has basically been forgotten in local racing. We only hear his name once a year when the trophy is running, but a lot of the new people to Caymanas Park Racing has never heard of him, and that is going to be the Gladiator. The Gladiator was this well-bred colt by Proudest Roman out of Is in Time. If you don't know, Is in Time was a champion broodmare who produced Horse of the Year 830 and also Horse of the Year Sir Howard and the Red Stripe Sprint Champion Aggressive Time. So very good broodmare there. So as a 2-year-old, the Gladiator was plagued by lameness and was lightly trained. Was trained by Nigel Nunes and owned by Mr. Christopher Tate, but was plagued by lameness early on in his career. So we're going to catch up to when Mr. Nunes finally got this Gladiator sound and running. So we're going to start in 1977 when he turned 3 after being lame most of his 2-year-old runs. Made his 3-year-old debut on the 26th of March 1977 in a 190 to 215 class rating, which I think is probably in the B class, going 6.5 furlongs in the Causeway Handicap, a race he was ridden by C. Barnes and won by 2 lengths in a time of 1:20.1. He came back 3 weeks later on the 19th of April, this time for class ratings 216 to 255, which is basically A3, in the Burnham Wood Handicap, a race going, I think it was, 5 furlongs round, with W. Ford in the saddle, and was an impressive winner up in class by 8 lengths for the 5 furlong round. He ran 59 flat. Returned 4 days later on the 23rd of April, this time going 6 furlongs in the same class, 216 to 255. W. Ford still in the saddle at 6 furlongs and was an easy 7-length winner in 1:11.3. And was back again 7 days later on the 30th of April, up in class again to ratings 288 or less, this time going 6.5 furlongs. W. Ford still in the saddle and winner by 7 lengths over Holiday Prince in 1:21. Was given a 2-week break after that race because he was heading up to grade 2, A2 back in those days. Came back on the 14th of May, this time in the A.V. Alexander Handicap at 7.5 furlongs, and was driven out under W. Ford to win by a neck from Holiday Prince, who he previously beat at 6.5 furlongs, this time winning 7.5 in 1:33.1. Was back 11 days later on the 25th of May, same ratings, 256 to 299, and in that he was in the Adstock Handicap. W. Ford still in the saddle, going 5 furlongs straight, won by 1.5 from the Donut King and King's Ransom in a time of 59.4. Returning 10 days later, up in class once again to ratings for 289s and upwards, which is A2 and A1 horses in the Reynolds Trophy, and suffered his first defeat of the season, going 6.5 furlongs, beaten by Indian Flame, 135 pounds, and D. Mackenzie. The Gladiator was second with W. Ford in the saddle. Timber King was third. And the 6.5 was covered in 1:18.3. Indian Flame beat the Gladiator by 1.5 lengths. So after that race, trainer Nigel Nunes gave him a well-deserved rest. Rest him for 1 month. He made his return on the 6th of July in the 286 to 318 class, which is A1 and A2 horses, in the what is this called? The Animate Handicap, for 5 furlongs round, and there was only 3 starters in that event, and the Gladiator, now with Charles Hussey in the saddle and top weight of 126 pounds, easily won by 5 lengths from Dick Turpin in a time of 1:04 for 5.5 furlongs. He returned 10 days later on the 16th of July, this time now in grade 1, class ratings 315 and up, was in the Achievement Handicap This was at 5 furlongs straight in a field of 6, and he easily put away Jungle Beat and Dark Shadow by 4 lengths in 59 and 3. Returned 2 weeks later on the 30th of July, still in Grade 1 in the handicap at 5 furlongs round. Another small field, faced the Gladiator here, coming in at 111 pounds, and Charles Hussey going up against the sprint champion Extra Classy with Winston Griffiths in the saddle, carrying top weight of 127 pounds, and the Gladiator made mincemeat of the opposition, winning by 7 lengths in 59 flat. Came out of that race lame and was put down for 3.5 months. Made his return on the 9th of November in the same Grade 1, 310 and upwards. They nominated him in the Merrideal Cup Handicap. This was a 5 furlong straight event. He had 5 starters in that event, carrying 121 pounds, and C. Barnes in the saddle, with his now jockey Charles Hussey choosing to go and ride for his father, riding Ramvin, and was expected to Ramvin to beat the Gladiator, but the Gladiator pulled out all the stops coming off of the long break to win by half a length in 59 and 4. That was the last run for the Gladiator, I think, at Caymanas Park. For the new season of 1978, the Gladiator was shipped to North America. He made his debut at Calder Racetrack on the 4th of August, and finished last on his United States debut. He came back the same month, 2 weeks later, and was last once again. The next start, they gave him a month off, came back, finished last again. And this story now, I'm going to tell you, this was told to me by Charles Hussey. At the time, Charles Hussey had migrated to Florida. And he said he was at the exercise track one morning, and, he saw this horse, warming up to work. And him say, this horse looks familiar. So him asked who trained the horse, and got to the trainer and say, who's that horse? And the trainer say, it's a little, a bug. It's a bug from them carry up from Jamaica. I don't know why they waste them time and carry this horse from Jamaica come up here to race. And Charles said, what's his name? Him look familiar. And the man said, the Gladiator. And Charles said, you're lying. Charles said, I used to ride the Gladiator in Jamaica. And the man said, well, if you so, Charles said, he was a big horse in Jamaica, A1 horse in Jamaica. But the man said, well, no, he good up here. And Charles Hussey say, give me the ride on him, man. I know to ride him. I used to ride him. And he put up Charles Hussey, and the Gladiator won. That was in October. They brought him back a week later, and Charles Hussey won with him again. So he won back-to-back races at Calder Racecourse. He went on, after that race, he was 3rd. They put him up in class. And these were claiming races at the time, but high claiming races. Then he finished 3rd. The next start out, they pushed him up in higher claimer, was 10th. After that, he was 5th. So they dropped him back down in the claiming ladder, and he won back-to-back races again at Calder. So then they decided to push him back up in class. He was 8th. Next start, they shipped him to Gulfstream Park, where he finished 6th. His next start at Gulfstream Park, he finished 5th. And then his last run at Gulfstream Park, he was 2nd. By this time, this was February of 1979. And the trainer who had him at the time, I think, was Peter Maxwell. They decided to ship him to a racetrack which is no longer run anymore. It was called Hazel Park. It was in Detroit. And making his debut in Detroit in March, the 16th of March, was a winner, an easy winner. Came back 5 days later and won again. So won back-to-back races at Hazel Park in Detroit. His next start out was 2nd, followed by another 2nd. Then he had 2 4ths, a 3rd, then a win, then a 3rd, and then 3 consecutive wins at Hazel Park in Detroit. Then a 5th, and then another win. So he won, 6 out of 8 starts. His next start there was a 2nd. By this time, this was late 1979. Then he finished 6th in a special weight contest, which was not a claiming race. It was a special weighted race. He was 6th. Then they put him back to claiming, where he won. They put him back up to special weight. This time now was the November of 1979, and he won again, back-to-back wins there. His last start was in a special weight contest where he finished second and was retired. So the Gladiator, when he retired, he had 53 starts, 24 wins, 6 seconds, and 5 thirds, for a purse money earnings of up to equivalent to 90,000 US dollars. So in Jamaica, the Gladiator had 20 starts, 11 wins. His 10 wins came out of his last 11 starts at Caymanas Park. He won 10 out of his last 11 starts, and then went to the US and won 13 of 33 races in the United States. So just wanted to bring that back up to the people who did not know the Gladiator, because I didn't really know about him until Charles Hussey told me about him, and I asked Mr. Nunes, and he said his father used to train him. I was supposed to get some pictures, but haven't gotten those yet, so that's why the only picture I have is the picture when this started. But yeah, that was the story of the Gladiator. That local, back in those days, the local horse could go to the United States and win races. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment.